Hi all, welcome to another episode of Saturday Architecture. And to begin with, I think this is a great week to be in, considering Gukesh is the new world champion of chess and an 18-year-old world champion. Wow, amazing, absolutely amazing and inspiring. And some time back, I was read an article about how much of time the previous champ G. Vishwanathan spends in gym, and I kind of did a little bit of reviewing, and it blew my mind that these people they play games for 5 hours, 6 hours, sit in one place, do so much of things that we tend to think that they'll be there just learning moves. But what I realize is, in order to be mentally that fit, it's not just about knowing the moves. Like there's so much of effort you have to do. Physical fitness and mental fitness has to be consciously worked on. You can't expect it to happen just like that. So if for chess it needs like that, and I think what I kind of uh, felt is, as technology leaders, we also would need this, considering technology is changing so much, business is changing so much, operations is showing so much. We need to be able to handle a lot of different moves, align them with each other, and make them happen. And there needs to be a certain amount of mental fitness as technology leaders we need to have. So I thought we would focus on this specific topic here. And I would ask with two questions, basically, if you're trying to answer for both Vamsi and Deepak. The first question being, what is it that you do to maintain your physical fitness? And second, have you seen somebody else do something else which helps them maintain their fitness? And as I'm talking this, I get reminded of one thing which my shuttle coach used to say. He says, people say, I'm playing shuttle or tennis to keep fit, which is a kind of a misnomer or a misconception that you got to be fit to play tennis. You got to be fit to play shuttle. You don't play shuttle to be fit. Okay. So it's a different kind of a thing. So in order to be a good performance as a tech leader, you need to be having physical fitness and mental fitness and technology fitness. We leave technology fitness aside. So probably I'll start with Vamsi to begin with. Vamsi, what are the two anything that you do to keep your mental fitness? And then have you seen somebody in your circle, peers, read what they do to keep their mental fitness?
I, um, I do typically practice. I'm a believer of stoicism. Like I'm a stoic. I don't try to take anything straight into. I really don't want to control things around me. Yes, I want to. Like for example, if there is an issue, if there is a challenge, I will go handle it. I'll solve it. But I won't really get tied into the problem, which is typically what makes us get the stress hormones, which will make us not deliver what is expected to do for that particular problem. Plus it also affects the health, right? So to me, being separated out of the problem is what I generally try to practice when I'm in the stress condition. But as far as trying to be doing something to keep myself fit, I usually try to do new things. I love to do cooking. I take hobbies like I do sometimes brewing beer. I i i just try to play with electronics. I use a lot of Lego blocks. I play with Lego blocks. I go and read my old comics. I do
Ah,
have a collection of Tinkle. So these are the things I keep doing to keep myself, fresh and keep circulating my thoughts. And to sum it up on that particular thing, what I do, I believe like there is a when I was I was doing a Stanford course, they used to call like a Stanford ducks. So outside the Stanford on the lake, the Stanford ducks will be like they look still and floating on the water, but inside they'll be very very vigorously flapping
paddling.
their feet
Mhm.
and then moving. So I need to be calm to make my leaders and my colleagues and my people who look up to me feel that I'm in control. Inside, I'll try to be as calm as outside, inside as I'm outside.
Nice. Okay. Deepak, what do you do?
I think since you started with physical fitness, let me say some things around what I do around physical fitness. Right. So one of the things which I sort of invested in was one of the standing desks. Right. So I can stand actually and work when I feel like. But that was before I actually started actively exercising in terms of going for regular walks. So every Sunday, I at least try to do 10 to 12 kilometers walk, jog, run, whatever, a mix of it in about 2 hours time, whatever I can do, less than 2 hours. Right. So that's my target, to do it at least once a week. And I've been able to do it consistently for the last 2 to 3 years. And once a year I will actually go for a trek which completely disconnects me from technology and everything else, right? So which is a really invigorating experience, because you are in one with the nature, and very little technology, and that sort of clears your mind of a lot of the garbage which you may have collected over time. For mental fitness, what I do is actually I try to see different points of view, right? Means I intentionally subscribe to different, sometimes diametrically opposite points of view, just to challenge myself, that where my biases are, let me challenge them all the time, right? So means sometimes I sort of argue with myself and says, why do I think the way I think, right? So that's the sort of,
Let's assume, for example, you're a vegetarian. You will actually subscribe to how non-vegetarian food can keep you fit. You'll subscribe to a feed or an email letter like that.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll speak to such people also, who like have a completely opposite view of mine, and sort of, and this something which we do on every second Saturday. We try to do this discussion. This is also for me a mental exercise, right? The other thing which I do is try to get myself into unfamiliar, uncomfortable situations with sometimes customers. I have to actually answer a challenging situation or answer challenging questions, stand for 4 or 5 hours on a whiteboard and do something and come to a conclusion. So all the physical fitness actually is required when during
To do
those
that.
3 to 4 hours when you are standing and discussing, in taking input. So the mental alertness that you require to address a group of people, to listen to them, interact with them, and faithfully record what is actually happening, that requires the physical fitness to be there. So if you are, after 1 hour of standing, if you are tired and you cannot pay attention to what people are saying, that really affects your performance. So that is my sort of, I would say, benefit I've gotten out of the physical fitness, right? So physical fitness, to do my job, it is very important to be alert, right? So the blood should flow to your brain at the required moment, right? And if you're not physically fit, you are not going to get the best out of it. So that's my 2 cents about it.
Nice. Thanks. So I kind of definitely some of the things that you are doing, right? We do that, and probably a example of stoicism, right? Not, I don't call it stoicism. It's like your ability to observe things. Okay. So a shameless plug. There is an app called Magic Ears on the Play Store and iPhone, which is done by me, which helped me do a practice. It's actually a simple application which helps you observe. So basically, it plays as you can do different modes. You can listen to the songs, or you can have it white noise, or you can have no sound music. You can select the duration, and then over a period of time, it plays different sounds at different frequencies. At the end of the period, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it asks you for what sound came for how many times. You got to give it, and then it gives you feedback. I kind of got this because when I tried to do meditations or silence myself, I used to fall asleep. Okay. When I say fall asleep, it's not like totally down, but you get switched off. Whereas I was not really present. So I needed some mechanism to know, hey, was I really aware and awake, or was I asleep? Okay. So this one kind of tells me like I'm aware at the same time, just observing, not analyzing, kind of. Because when I'm analyzing, I will lose count. When I go to sleep, I will lose count. I'm not being completely present. So this is something which I tend to do as a method, and I'll be happy if the ones who are listening can actually try it and let me know on the feedback how it works for them. And I think that's a kind of precursor to this. And I think from what collectively what I've heard is good technology leaders look at domains other than technology, and just for knowing it, right? It could be cooking, cleaning, art. It could be something vague, completely different altogether. It can be playing a video game or a physical game or whatever, right? It's something that the ability to build the overall muscles, right? Otherwise it's like if you're a boxer and you're just your shoulder muscle alone develops, you can't have sustenance. So I think a combination of these things which I have definitely heard, hopefully I think uh, you prioritize this as a key thing, especially if you want to play a long term battle.
Absolutely.
And this
One thing,
tournament lasted 14 days. I mean, imagine 14 days, wake up, and you're constantly under pressure, right? And it's not that after the game they go and sleep. They still do analysis, they discuss with their coach. It's not that the mind is at rest. So imagine the amount of cognitive cost that is required to run a 15-day. And it's not that 15-day, right? They were preparing before that also. But 15 days is like on stage kind of a thing. And I think probably the tech leader equivalent of this is like you have 15 days of board meeting, and every day you will be grilled by the board directors with questions, with 15, with different types of questions, right? I think it's equivalent of that. It's truly inspirational that at 18-year-old, the kind of discipline and I think that person Gukesh need to have. What can I say? Like I wish I got to be at least 5 to 10% of that.
and there is
Um,
a you were brought a very good point, right? How intimately high intensity brain activity requires the physical fitness is there is a study, right? An amount of calories a chess player burns is it will be anywhere around 1500 to 2000 calories per match or like a 7, so which means this is in addition to like their regular metabolism, right? 1500 calories or 1600 calories, for example, is Gukesh's average if he doesn't do base metabolic activity. By doing the play, he is burning another 2000 calories. In contrast, Olympic swimmer like Michael Phelps during the peak training will be burning around 7000 calories to 8000 calories,
Ah,
right?
wow.
So,
Okay.
so you are talking about by just sitting and playing a game, a grandmaster will be burning almost 40% of what a physical swimmer,
Wow.
Olympic swimmer, will be burning. So I
Brain
think
is a
that,
big calorie hog. Brain is a big calorie hog.
yeah, yeah, it's one of the most most calorie consuming when it is being used organ in the body. So it's highly tight. So I think I don't know if you read Walter Isaac's Steve Jobs biography. Steve used to walk a lot. He used to do all his one-on-ones as a walk, right? Number one, it gives a break from the same gray office setting, which is very common in corporate world, and into the nature, and it gives a little bit of physical exercise, and it stimulates the entire conversation. And these are not the talks, probably these are the talks that created X, or in the current form, or any other like Airbnb kind of products. These are the products while these founders and these younger people, entrepreneurs looking up to Steve, were walking with him and getting stimulated. So kind of groundbreaking or path breaking innovations and corporations or companies got created, if you think about it, by a stimulated walk with a great person. So how much how much we could do if we talk with people, just go
Hmm.
out and talk, right? That is a stimulation by itself, and helps to strengthen the brain.
Great point. I think talking is important, and just kind of keep the temptation of ranting or generally blabbering aside. And when you say talk, it's like really actively listening. That is there, I think. I'm sure it's definitely stimulating. It refreshes, and it's a kind of interesting thing, right? It is like you have to break a muscle to build it. So similarly, you have to tax the brain enough so that it can grow and become stronger. Great point, Vamsi. I think it was a great thanks to Gukesh for giving us such an interesting topic. And I think probably each of us can actually, we could go ahead and say how each one helped us. You look back, we can connect and see, gives us some food for thought, literally food for thought for a
Mhm.
later episodes. Yeah.
Today, my soft toy is Simba the lion. I got from Brussels airport. It's a WWF fund sponsored one. So preserve the nature, take care of the animals, wild and pets. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye,
Thanks,
Simba.
Simba. Thanks, Deepak. Thanks, Vamsi, for the discussion.
Thank you.